Horizon Jensen Reaction. This is Trope Talk, strong female characters for the channel Only Sarcastic production. Despite the increasing number of female protagonists in modern storytelling, emphasis on modern, because obviously there wasn't much of strong female or any good female characters of the past. I mean, yeah, you could name a few, but yeah, it feels like a lot of them are somehow flatter than one might expect, playing to more of an archetype than a real good character. I mean, yeah, that is kind of true. Today, Red ponders the burning question, what's up with that? Yeah, alright. I mean, that is true, isn't it? I mean, current times, whatever strong female characters you would have is, they don't have, their unique personal, character, I guess, that, defines them. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, she talked about in one of the other videos about how, why is it hard to write female characters, and, she didn't go into detail, obviously, because she made this video, but still, I mean, that is true. I mean, writing a strong female character is, I guess, hard. I don't know how. Why would it be hard, though? I mean, only thing I can think of is probably that, obviously, decades ago, there was a cultural thing, I guess, where women are supposed to do certain thing, men are supposed to do certain things. So girls, when they grow up, basically their parents show them in, I guess, ballet dance and shit like that, because they can't do anything else. That's what's, society approved thing, I guess, for girls. With boys, it's their own thing. So when it comes to, I guess, fiction, comics and things like that, that was more boys and men's thing rather than any, girls thing. Even if they wanted to, they would not, because of the societal pressure or something like that. So of the past, more men wrote the comics, more men, read the comics. Same thing with, I guess, fictional novels too. So I guess that might be the case, because, read by men, written by men. So probably more male characters than female. Nowadays it's changing, obviously, but it hasn't been that long that it's gonna have that widespread change. But even today, after, I'm pretty sure it's been good enough time that, even today we don't see the more female characters emerging. I mean, I understand when it comes to physical things, sure. Like, if you're trying to show a female characters with their aggressive and brute strength, historically saying, is usually man's thing, raging wars and all that shit, anger issues. But, if it's about physical thing, obviously men are more physically able than women. But in current times, with all the weapons and things, I mean, that's not going to be the limitation, is it? Why is it hard to write a female character? Why isn't there female Rambo or equivalent to that? With it doesn't have to be copy of Rambo. It has, some kind of a female touch to it, I guess. Female counterpart. How hard can that be? But yeah, that isn't strong characters, yeah. Remember, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast whole playlist like Only Sarcastic production, Tier Zoo, Interhistorian, CGP Grey History. And yeah, let's watch this one.
Why is writing girls difficult? This is a legit question, I swear. More than half the population is girls, but it feels like there are only 5 girl characters in existence. There's the mom, the damsel, the hardened badass, the sexy one, and the silly one. But if you look at the dude archetypes, you've got way more variety. There's the paragon, the big friendly guy, the smart guy, the dark misunderstood one, the moral gray area, the team dad, the lancer, and so many more. Hell, even the everyman is a dude. Why? This isn't meant to be a—
That's the same thing, because I said before, more men wrote things like this, so they are like, female, she has to be some form of hot or cute, and that's that done. Let's talk about male characters. There are 100 different emotional and different psychological characters I can write about. Female, yeah, she has to be hot. I think that's the case. That's the only thing I can think of right now.
Accusatory in any way. I've honestly been trying to figure this out because I have so much trouble with this. The first piece of major writing I did had precisely one female character. She was pretty and demure and cried a lot and had healing powers. It was a disgrace, really. The thing is, when people notice this problem, the first solution tends to be to take a fully developed male character and turn him into a girl. Take the big guy, now he's a girl. Smart guy, smart girl. And this can totally work. But sometimes you get weird translation errors where traits affiliated with the archetype clash with their gender. Like when you take a grizzled soldier badass and make him a her, there's a weird tendency for her to spout a bunch of cookie cutter, don't be such a girl stuff every other minute. Because of course, in fictional militaries, the overwhelming attitude is very classic macho. So when you fit a female character in there, you get a weird bit of character whiplash when—
I think when it comes to fiction, I think you take things from history a lot, and obviously historically, it's men who fought the wars and things. Men were the more aggressive things, all the conflicts and things. So anybody who reads fiction, this has to be some kind of resemblance to that. So I guess a veteran who's, I guess, basically like Rambo type person who's man, I guess they make sense. But if you just do that same thing just with female, it feels weird. But I think, if you use your creativity, you can create that. I mean, look at the Harley Quinn, all right? See, anybody, if she goes around beat most people up, nobody will think that this is unrealistic. No, that makes sense. Harley Quinn makes sense. But they show her like this, volatile, just doing, I don't know, but not too crazy stuff in a way. I mean, you could make Harley Quinn very aggressive and beating everybody's ass type of thing. I mean, that would work, but they are not doing that. Even though there is this feeling coming from that character, like she's badass.
When her own machismo is expressed by calling unimpressive behavior womanly. Like, girl, own yourself. By the way, this character is pretty much what people are referring to half the time when they scornfully call someone a strong female character. The other half, they're talking about a Bayonetta type who's threateningly sexy, the I'll kick your ass and look good while doing it variety, which is just a variant on the aforementioned sexy archetype. Actually, more specifically, it's a repurposing of a villainous female archetype, the dominatrix kind of villain who's both sexy and intimidating. You can totally take that archetype and turn it into a hero, but that's actually a new development, since for a few centuries there, women weren't allowed to have sex drives, so of course only evil women could be dangerously sexy. But anyway, there's another instance of that cookie-cutter gender swap.
I don't think that's the case. I think, she's dominant, ruthless, and she's sexy. I guess that was more of a man thing, like, whoever wrote that liked that kind of thing. I guess that's the case. Not because, only evil women can be sexy. That's not the case. Whoever wrote that wanted, a dominative, bit ruthless, hot woman as the character. That's it. There's nothing more to that. That's the thing. When men wrote lots of comics and novels, characters' backstory usually, is very simple in a way. Dominative, kind of hot and can kick anybody's ass. Oh, that's good. And that's it. There's not much detail than that. That's the thought process the, I guess, writer went through.
Thing where the translation error doesn't manifest in the character, but in the reception of the character. Like, well, not to open a can of worms, but like Rey from The Force Awakens. I was so surprised when I went online after I saw the movie and everyone was complaining that Rey was an OP Mary Sue, because when I saw that movie, it looked like a faithful recreation of Episode 4, Magic Space Orphan and all. Rey and Luke were the same character with a slightly different attitude, but a chunk of the internet went berserk. Now, admittedly, the internet is in a constant state of going berserk over something or other, but this one kinda hurt, because I really liked Rey. I liked her curiosity, her experimentation with her powers. One of the most complained about scenes when she manages to mind trick the guard was one of my favorites, because it was obvious she'd grown up hearing stories about what the Jedi could do, and as soon as she learned she was Force sensitive, she started trying new things she'd heard about in stories. And I really liked that, because it was exactly what I would do. She felt like a real person to me, but her confidence in the rapid growth of her powers flipped some rage switch that Wonder Boy fighter pilot chosen when Luke Skywalker hadn't. And we can argue about why all day long, but I'd rather not. Because fundamentally, I think the problem here isn't gender specific at all. I think it's just symptomatic of a much larger characterization problem. The root of the error, I think, is that writers oftentimes draw inspiration more from other stories than they do from reality. And it's a sad truth that up until a few decades ago, there were basically 4 or 5 girl characters. You got your fairy tale princesses, your moms, your femme fatales, and your occasional Viking warrior woman. And the characters ended up getting recycled as a consequence of the fact that most writers are inspired to write by absorbing what other people write. The original error in girl characterization is, yes, rooted in centuries of dude-centric storytelling. But the reason why it propagated is, I'm pretty sure, this. And then within the past few decades, you suddenly got this moment of clarity where people started asking, why does this character have to be a dude? And that's how you got the cookie-cutter gender swap stuff, which, by the way, was the second approach toward female characters that I ended up writing into that world. I had a warrior prince I decided to add some estrogen to. Again, shamefully lax writing on my part, but in my defense, I was like 12. But I think this idea that we should—
See, that's the thing, you can't copy-paste male into female. That's what Hollywood's trying to do. I know why they're trying to do, because they don't have to write shit now and just make movie based on, oh, look at that feminism. They're just trying to make money off that. They don't want to do creative writing. I think, male and female whole psychology, whole, the way they grow up, the way things they go through, I guess it's kind of different in a way. Even the historically it's kind of different. So when you write a character, you can just copy paste, and you can suddenly make, the female character just like the male character, but you have to, give them their own traits, their own, I guess, backstories in a way. I mean, male aggression, that, I don't know how else to say this, macho thing that man has, you can't just put that into female. You have to give them their own traits. I mean, then it will work. And you know what this is, this just bring this whole topic up. I never thought about this, but why is there no strong characters nowadays? Only thing I can think of is Hollywood is lazy nowadays. There is no good storytelling anyway. They are just recycling old shit. But still, I think, enough time has passed now. I guess in Hollywood, feminism is already strong. So why isn't there anybody just thinking of a good female character rather than just copy pasting from the past and not working? They did that Ghostbusters thing with female. I think I watched a bit of movie there. I didn't like it much because it was kind of, weird, cheesy. They just wanted to make money. They could have done very well with that, with good storytelling, but they didn't. So, that's what I'm saying. You can create great female characters, but people are not just doing that.
Right from archetypes is the root of the problem. Because if we were drawing characters from our lives instead, I'd say the vast majority of us have been exposed to all kinds of fascinating people of every gender. Archetypal writing is what leads to 500,000 identical heroes fighting the other 500,000 villains. There's nothing wrong with starting from other stories, but there are so many benefits to drawing from reality too. Now, I'm better at actually drawing than I am at writing, so let's use that as an analogy for a minute. Say you want to learn how to draw, which I heartily recommend. Say you start by drawing cartoon characters you like, or by getting one of those how to draw anime books and filling in the lines. You can get really good at that, but in the end you'll be making what is functionally someone else's art style. And if that art style doesn't cover how to draw, dogs, how are you going to draw that dog you want to draw? Well, you can Google how to draw a dog and follow the instructions, but that'll get you how someone else would draw a dog. Do this with enough things and you end up with this weird Frankenstyle, where your art is a patchwork of other people's art. Sometimes the style discrepancy is very visible, especially when you have, for example, very stylized cartoon characters in front of incredibly detailed backgrounds, or very Disney-looking humans with more Looney Tunesy animals. But there's another way to learn art, and it's pretty much the only way to develop a unique style and guarantee that whatever you end up making, it'll be something nobody else could have made, unless, of course, they were imitating you. Obviously, it's life drawing, but more specifically, it's developing artist eyes. You sort of need to be able to look at the world and see in your head how you draw what you're seeing. Animators watch people moving and learn how to get across incredibly complex motion without compromising the simplicity of their visual style. Painters see swaths of color and contemplate the brush and palette knife tricks they'd use to recreate it. Graphic artists see light and shadow and learn how to get across a realistic human face with only a few blocks of black and white. And writers see the people around them and see the characters that their personality could contribute to.
Yeah.
There are story characters that are so vivid and unique that you can practically hear the person who inspired their creation. Any given Terry Pratchett novel is full of them. A character inspired by life is going to feel so much realer than a character inspired by another character, no matter how good the original character is. Learning from someone else's style will only show you how to do what they've already done. If you want to do something new or take the character...
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, you're lazy money making. That's what the case is today. That's why people are just taking things from the past. But, even if you take inspiration from the past, you can still, I guess, build upon it. I mean, let's say, Black Widow. I mean, that's your classic, sees hot per scene, knows some MMA here and there. And, I guess that kind of concept that she just said about being a bit of, I don't know how else to say this, dominate type of, she knows MMA and that's it. Her moves also resemble some, that stereotypical female, I guess, fighter type of thing, who's spy. How hard it is to create Jason Bourne equivalent of female. I'm not talking about James Bond because Black Widow kind of feels close to James Bondish in a way. But let's say Jason Bourne, who's a spy, who's fighting, something like that. Like I said in the start of the video, understand the physical limitation here and there. But in this current world with weapons and things, I think physical limitation is not going to be the issue. So you can really create somebody who's going through all the emotions, who's I guess wronged in a way. Yeah, and show all the backstories, I guess, and not just create this stereotypical female spy shit. I mean, it can't be that hard, man. I mean, people do write really complex movies, and writing takes years for them. How hard it would be to create a female character?
Character in a unique direction, you'll need to draw on your experiences from reality instead. So even though, statistically speaking, the vast majority of us know at least as many girls as guys, the tendency towards archetypal writing leads us to disregard these people when the time comes to design our characters. And though there's nothing wrong with drawing inspiration from the works of others, if you don't add any of your own observations or experiences, your character is going to be rote. But there is, I think, another element contributing to a certain amount of the trouble people have with writing girl characters specifically, and that's that in our culture, there are things that girls are supposed to be. The most obvious one of these is pretty. If you're not pretty, it's almost like you're doing something wrong. Now, this is why girl characters in almost any story are going to be traditionally attractive, regardless of species.
I would even see in the comment section, and yeah, okay. See, that's the thing. Like I said in the start of the video, there is nothing much I can say about this video. Just the thing that I said at the start of the video, that in the past, the culture was in a way that men are supposed to do something, girls are, women are supposed to do something. If you're a girl, I guess when you reach your certain age, I guess go to ballet dancing. Oh no, I want to, read this novel here and there. I want to read comics. I want to invest in that. And society is going to frown upon you. So because of societal pressure, even if they don't want, they're just going to invest in ballet dancing and shit like that. So I guess, and that was quite recent. I mean, if you see if you see centuries of history, that was kind of recent. So only few decades had gone by where people are like, you know what, this is bullshit. Girls can do whatever the fuck they want, same thing like that. So, I guess it's gonna take time. I don't know, in few decades we might see the change in female characters, but I feel like it shouldn't take that long. By now we should have seen, but only thing I can chalk up to it right now is just their Hollywood and their laziness in writing. They don't want to write. I mean, they just want to, first of all, they already was taking cues from the past, so writing is kind of easy. Now they have to create the whole another character where there is no, any other past stories that they can take from. They have to start from scratch. I guess maybe somebody is already trying to write a novel based on that. Who the hell knows? Maybe we'll see it in, I guess, a few years, in decades. The novel is going to be successful, and then there's going to be movies and shit. Who knows?
Profession or circumstance. It just feels like the norm, the baseline. Now, obviously, there are exceptions, but the mere fact that there are notable exceptions kind of reveals that there's a rule here. Now, I like pretty girls as much as anybody else, but we don't write characters we idealize all the time, or at least we shouldn't, because that'd be kind of boring. But there are other girl rules in place that have much more of a character impact than simple appearance, because beyond the physical, there are social rules we kind of absorb and assume are the norm. Again, most obviously, there's been this idea for a very long time that when things get serious, the girls hang back and the dude folks sort things out. It's a chivalry thing, but it becomes almost cartoonish when it shows up in modern cinema's favorite action comedy trope of the decade: the ludicrously competent girl training the completely inexperienced schlub. Everywhere from The Matrix to the Lego Movie, the ludicrously badass, strong female character with years of experience building on already extant native talent hangs back in the finale while the schlub with a week of training saves the day. And it feels natural. No matter how bad.
I mean, in The Matrix, I don't think, I can see that, but I guess, Neo wasn't gay, so Neo needed a partner. So obviously it had to be, what is her name? I even forgot her name, So it had to be her. But it's not just her that's sitting back. There were lots of other, I guess, experienced characters like Morpheus who didn't take part. Obviously, the story was about Neo. That's why he was the one who was, doing all the ass kicking. While obviously everybody else was just, already experienced people of the Matrix, I don't know how else to say that, was sitting back because he was the chosen one. Only reason C was there with Neo at the time because C is, I guess, his, girlfriend or whatever, because Neo needs girlfriend. I guess when all the crisis is happening, you need girlfriend, boyfriend bullshit rather than just focusing on the story at hand. But yeah.
Badass she is. She ends up being a support character because girls support dudes in our culture. And again, there are exceptions, but again, they're notable exceptions. And again, this isn't accusatory. It's just something to be aware of. We want to write good stories. It's good to be aware of the things we silently assume have to be there. There are a few more rules in place that are less rigid but still present.
Screw the accusatory, man. So what if it's accusatory? That's not the point. I mean, it is what it is. one should never be, get pissed off on the reality, I guess. But the history is the one that pulls all the story. And like I said, in the past, in history, men always go to wars while women stay back and support somehow. That's translated into stories like this shit, like men do the fighting while women sit back or something like that. That was the mentality. I guess it's gonna change now. I hope it does. Otherwise, maybe Hollywood is, like I said, Hollywood, all the novelists maybe lost their shit, and no new good novels or even the Hollywood story is gonna come out. Who the hell knows? But if they do, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see the rise in strong female characters.
For example, girls aren't generally supposed to take up space, so their visual designs will tend towards compactness, either short or on significant occasions, tall but willowy. You end up
I don't know why that was so strong right there. Women are not supposed to take space. So
with a lot of socially motivated trends over an entire gender of character, and yes, dudes too. And again, it's because we're writing from archetypes, not experience. We know people, or are people, who aren't traditionally attractive, we know dudes who cry and girls who are 6'6" and bench I-beams in their spare time, and we know the impracticalities of maintaining a glamour routine on a daily basis, let alone while stuck on a desert island or an alien planet. We know this stuff, but because we're writing from other stories, all this cool real stuff doesn't get included, which is a shame, really. So yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think the simple thing, like I said, so far I think I'm saying the same thing here, but I guess I don't have anything else to say. I guess taking things from history, I guess writing, because most writers on this kind of topics, novels, fictional novels, comics and things, are men. So obviously they write men thing, while just when it comes to female, oh, she's hot and that's it. That's where it stopped. It probably changed nowadays, but nowadays changed in a way that they are just copy pasting male with stories into just female stories and just copy pasting, which is not working. I think people are going to write strong female characters going forward, but I think we should have seen it by now. I guess I guess Harley Quinn is a good character, isn't it? I don't know, but like I said, she still has that getting distracted and not having some kind of a cynical drive or something like that kind of thing. She's just crazy and psychotic. That's the mentality which I don't like. I mean, you can easily make Harley Quinn some kind of a strong antagonist type, or I guess who's I guess protagonist in a weird way, but is also doing shady shit. You can also make then give her drive, give her story to give her drive into some some kind of a thing. Like something happened, she has to do this, that's her life's goal, some shit like that, and now she's ruthless. You can give things like that, but yeah. Alright, that was strong female characters, trope talk. If you like Medics and don't forget to subscribe, check out the Medics Sunday, there's a link in the description. Check out the cast wall, please check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.